I'm trying to contain my excitement this morning, but it is a little bit hard. The Trump bump that we had back in, right after the election, that Trump bump was based on a promise on what was going to be coming. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing execution already. We're seeing execution day after day, news coming out every single day about what the new administration is doing in order to solve the problems of the day. And we have more of that today. This kind of execution, I think, is calming markets, is causing markets to get more and more excited. I think we're going to see, well, we're seeing today more Trump bump. I think we're going to see more Trump bump next week, assuming the weekend goes along as expected. But I think people who have been asking, well, what happens after the election? I think we're getting a taste of it today. Trump will, so he's going to be the news maybe for the next 4 years. This morning, it says he has talked to Chairman Xi. He's talked about TikTok. He's talked about fentanyl. He's talked about trade. By the way, parentheses, the Supreme Court just decided to uphold the ban on TikTok. So that takes place on Sunday, the day before the inauguration. So I don't know exactly what happens between Sunday and Monday now with regard to those of you who are addicted to TikTok. But if you're addicted to fentanyl, that was another subject that he and she talked about, and they talked about trade and the trade imbalance and what to do about it. The chairman also is going to be sending his vice president to attend the inauguration for the very first time that has ever happened as kind of an olive branch. Well, markets are loving all of this outreach and all of the things that are happening. And the S&P is now almost at its all-time high, and Tesla is outperforming on this options day, up 14 or 15 last time I checked, around 428, gaining back all of the losses from yesterday, roughly all of the losses from yesterday. Okay, moving on to other news. TipRanks had 3 articles out on Tesla today. It's like, what? 2 of those were negative and included quotes from largely unsuccessful and never correct price targets from Gordon Johnson and Colin Langan. We will visit the other article, which gave some of Dan Levy's new information along with his new price target. We'll check that out in just a second. Meanwhile, Tesla is up, and maybe that's the Dan Levy news. I think it's more the Trump bump, but anyway, we'll be talking about all of that. So what about TipRanks? Here we go. According to Barclays analyst Dan Levy, fundamentals remain secondary. We know that, versus the broader theme of narrative command for Tesla, which since November's presidential election has gone into hyperdrive. The stock has become untethered from the fundamentals. I agree with that. Arguably similar to what we saw with Tesla stock in late 2021 when the market was awash in EV euphoria. Let me check you on that one, Dan. It wasn't EV euphoria. It was partially that. It was really about the feeling that we were on the verge of getting to 100% unsupervised full self-driving and robotaxis. Now we're back on the verge of that again, only with a lot more certainty. Levy went on to say, it's important to note this move has very little to do with EVs, as the election catalyst is objectively a negative for EVs. Well, a lot of people think that. We've discussed that ad infinitum on this program. I don't think it's a negative. Neither does Elon Musk. Nevertheless, the stock is up 6.66% since Trump's win, with Levy noting that many investors he had spoken to have been stunned by the magnitude of the rally and are growing more uncertain about just exactly how to approach the stock, given the apparent huge disconnect from underlying fundamentals. Well, if they study it, if they paid attention, they would know that there's, this whole thing called an optimist, which is going to change economics. How many times has anybody ever heard about a product that's going to change economics? Now, AI can change economics also. So you've got AI, which is also in our realm, and we've got the optimist, which is clearly in our realm, both of which can change economics. To wit, It says 𝐿𝐼𝐻. Who uses 𝐿𝐼𝐻 anymore? Tesla's valuation multiple has surged to a lofty 123 times 25 price to earnings ratio, up from 80 just before the election. That, of course, the 123 would depend on what you think the earnings are going to be next year. I have probably got a higher number than they do. Investors have no doubt been enthusiastic about the AV/AI opportunity ahead, given the substantial TAM, with Tesla once again about to take on the role of disruptor, despite the distant nature of the opportunity, like 3 months, and the challenges of monetizing it. Excuse me, if it happens, it'll be monetized. Both from the standpoint of the uptake on the FSD by people who are buying cars for themselves, as well, of course, as for the amazing number of cars that are going to be purchased. Anyway, but that in no way tells the full story. Much more than that, the stock has been benefiting from what Levy terms the Elon premium, which the analyst thinks is at an all-time high, particularly given how influential Musk is set to become on the back of Trump's win. With Tesla firmly establishing itself as the OG meme stonk, its closest comparison is perhaps Bitcoin, that would probably be the closest comparison, with Musk's star power taking main stage in this dynamic. Well, he's been the star power all along. I think Levy knows that. Yeah, the guy he just doesn't know how to lose. He only knows how to win. Betting on Tesla on account of Musk's first buddy status, though, is quite a risky strategy, given the size of the egos involved in the history. Musk remarked in 2022 it was time for Trump to sail into the sunset. Certainly not out of the realm of possibility to think a falling out is in the cards at some point during the 4-year reign. I would bet against that. I would believe that people who think that Trump, being buddy-buddy with Xi, being buddy-buddy with Putin, being buddy-buddy, this is the stuff that makes things happen at the international level. You have to keep your enemies close, your friends close and your enemies closer. Eventually, says Levy, fundamentals will return to being important to Tesla investors. Yeah, but those fundamentals will then be based on what? On Optimus and Robotaxi, and will be out of this world. Yet, for now, it's unclear to us what negative catalyst is, with the stock to potentially remain elevated for now. To this end, he assigns an equal weight rating, but he does increase his target from 270 to 325. And that is, of course, 21% below share prices as of the writing of this article. 11 other analysts joined Levy on the sidelines with the additional 13 buys and 9 sells. The consensus view is that Tesla stock is a hold. The 329 average price target is similar to Levy's objective, implying a 20% downside. Never going to happen now. Okay, we've seen the bottom. Well, okay. We've got the earnings call next week. This could be a little bit of a problematic leading into it, and we'll see what happens at the earnings call. Okay, Sawyer Merritt says, this is completely misleading and not true. There is a fire at Moss Landing. That's here in California. It's a huge battery, battery installation. It houses 3,000 megawatt hours of battery storage. It's the world's largest. The facility is on fire, but the part that's on fire is the part that's owned by Vista Energy. It is not a Tesla Megapack facility. There's a separate 256-unit Tesla battery storage facility located next door, but it didn't start in that facility and it ain't burning. As of 8 p.m. last night, that facility remains unaffected. That means that the fire has no connection to Tesla or to Megapack product, although it is not good that there is a battery storage facility on fire. In general, we have to be concerned also about the category, but I'm sure we'll figure all that out. From Tesla Roddy, a fun story that Greater Manchester police stopped the driver of a Tesla Cybertruck in Whitfield Bury on Thursday night. As noted in a BBC News report, the Cybertruck was illegal to drive in the UK due to safety concerns. The vehicle, which was registered and insured abroad, was confiscated by authorities. The driver of the Cybertruck, a UK resident, has been reported. The cases, they really do concentrate on the important stuff in in Great Britain these days. The case has also been referred to Operation Wolverine, which deals with drivers operating vehicles without insurance. The Tesla Cybertruck owner would now have to prove ownership of the vehicle, as well as proper insurance, before the all-electric pickup truck could be released, the BBC noted. In the social media post, the GMP explained the reasons why the Cybertruck was confiscated. Whilst this may seem trivial to some, legitimate concerns exist around the safety of, I don't do imitations, no. Exists around the safety of other road users or pedestrians if they were involved in a collision with a Cybertruck, the Greater Manchester Police noted. The Tesla Cybertruck is not road legal in the UK. It does not hold a certificate of conformity. January 16th, 2025, 𝐒𝐭𝐮𝐽𝐥 reported that the general forecast sentiment for Tesla stock is bullish. 25 technical analyst indicators signaling bullish signals, only one signaling bearish signals. How about them apples, if you believe in the charting part of the business? Okay, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please hit notify. Upcoming today will be Larry Goldberg at around 4 o'clock. We usually do it a little earlier on Friday. At 7:45, there will be a phenomenal program. It might be Brian Wang. That's the most likely thing, but I haven't decided yet what's going to happen. But there will be a program, and it will be amazing. You can count on that. Hit also, the other thing you can do is go down in the instructions down there. Very easily, you just push this Patreon button, and then you'll know just what to do. $3 a month, $5 a month, 10. You can handle it. All right, building permits. This is out this morning. Privately owned housing units authorized by building permits in December were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.48 million, a miss compared to the 1.46 expected. 1.46, 1.48. That seems like a beat. 7% below the revised November rate, but I think it was a beat. I put down a miss. Anyway, so maybe that's a beat. This is a 7% below the revised rate, though, from November, and also below the December rate from the prior year, substantially below that. Single-family authorizations in December were at a rate of 992,000. That's a 1% above the revised November figure, but authorizations of units of buildings with 5 units or more were lower. An estimated 1.4 million housing units were authorized by building permits in 2024, which is a 2.6% decline from the entire year of 2023. On the other hand, housing starts, a surprising good beat. Privately owned housing starts in December were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.5 million, a huge beat above the 1.33 million expected. This is 15.8% above the revised November estimate. So interesting. Single-family housing starts in December were at a rate of over 1 million. This is 3.3% above the revised November figure. So all in all, a good thing. But compared to last year, of course, much less, 3.9% less than all of 2023. Then we have this, which broke just before I came on. Industrial production increased 0.9% in December. That is really good news after moving up 0.2% in November. In December, gains in the output of aircraft and parts contributed 0.2%. There was some downtime with Boeing, so that's probably, filling in that blank space. Manufacturing output rose 0.6% after gaining 0.4% in November. The indices for mining and utilities climbed 1.8% and 2.1% respectively. At 103.2% of the 2017 average, total IP in December was good. It was up. The majority of marketing groups posted gains in December. The output for consumer goods increased 0.5%. A rise in non-durable production outweighed a broad-based decline in durables. Output of non-durable consumer goods rose 0.7%. The index for business equipment grew 1.4%. Construction supplies and business supplies both posted gains. The index for materials rose 1.2%. So, man, across the board, good news for manufacturing, except what? Those darn durables. When are the durables going to come back? When the durables come back, it's going to be a stimulus for the economy. In industry groups, manufacturing output moved up 0.6% in December as compared to expected 2.2%. And so all that was good. Transportation equipment up. I mean, everything. Capacity utilization is the other stat we always look for, stepped up 0.4 percentage points to 76.7, but that was a slight miss. People were expecting 77%. And even 77% is low. You like to see it around 78 or higher. Now, that is 1.7 percentage points below the long run average, which would be about 79%. So like I say, you want to be over 78 to really feel like the manufacturing sector is doing well. And of course, we know the manufacturing sector has been in recession for a very, very long time. So what impact is all of this good news having on stocks? Well, a very good impact. The Dow is up 309. It's got a way to go to get to its all-time high. NASDAQ up to 1187. S&P up 45, and Tesla up 14, call it $14. Those percentages are 0.72 for the Dow Jones, NASDAQ up 1.1, S&P up 0.77%, and Tesla up 3.34, tripling the NASDAQ rate, which is above its beta. Now, their stocks are coming off. Tesla's coming off a little bit of the highs, although the Dow is flat, but the S&P and NASDAQ are a little off their highs. The Magnificent Seven is all up except for Meta, which is down 0.77. And the Cathie Woods are all up except TDOC again, but strongly. ARC up 1.23, PayPal up 2.5. PayPal and Square have been up day after day, with the banks doing very, very well in their reporting over this week. I guess Square and PayPal are riding on those coattails. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just guessing right there. I haven't done any research at all into that. Oh, by the way, TDOC is now green, so that makes all of them green. So just in that second, we went to 100% green. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at the bonds. And what we have is another drop in the bonds. The bonds are also responding to this Trump bump. I really believe they're beginning to be believers. That's good. 10-year down 1.3%. We are now under 4.6. Boy, would it be lovely to get another 10 basis points and get down to 4.5 or less. That would be lovely. 2-year is up a little bit, 1.3 basis points. The 1 month up 0.6 of 1 basis point. But the good news, the 10-year down 1.6, under 4.6 at this point. All right, what about oil? Oil it was down when I looked earlier. It is still down 54 cents, 78.14. I called this the other day. I said the 81 was crazy. I think the oil will continue to drop. That is not investment advice, but if you like playing in any of that patch, I believe that if I were playing in that patch, that's what I would be doing. I would be shorting oil right now. Natural gas down 4.72% this morning. We've got a big, huge cold thing coming in to the northeast. Significant polar, what are they calling them now? Anyway, a polar thing is coming down to the northeast, going to make it super cold over the weekend. I'm sure are there any of those football games going to be played outside? Could be very, very cold. Okay, but natural gas dropping even as that polar vortex comes. The gold's down a little bit, but still sitting up there at 2,746, near its all-time high. Silver down 1.83 this morning, $31 and change. Copper down 1.4% at right around where it always, not always, but where it has been for a very long time, around $4.38 this morning. The dollar steady, given all of this information that we're talking about right now, that we don't really want the dollar to go up more. It would be really good if the dollar kind of stayed where it is. We got Bitcoin up 3,427 at 103.9, almost 104. That would give us now a shot at the Bitcoin going to its all-time high. Again, this is probably due to Trump coming in, not necessarily just because of the better economy and all the things that Trump promises, peace. on earth would be one of them. But it's also because of the plans that Trump has said he has for cryptocurrencies. Okay, that is all of the data that we have for this morning. Let's go ahead now and drop back real quick and talk about what's happening. Well, first of all, if you missed my discussion last night with Bradford Ferguson about the new LFP patent that Tesla has, this is really important. It's really, I doubt if this is the reason the stock is up this morning. I doubt if it's Dan Levy increasing his price target. I think the reason the stock is up this morning is what Dan Levy said, which is sentiment around the new Trump administration about Elon's involvement in it, but also about all of the opportunities that are coming for Tesla that have made easier by Elon's involvement. But the stock continues to go back up again now. It's moving back up to the right. So I'm going to put that card right here to go check out the Bradford Ferguson video from last night. And then like, subscribe, notify, and of course, do Patreon. And all of those things would make me even more excited than I already am about this weekend and about our future and about all of the kind of crazy stuff that's going to happen in 2025. It's been great talking to you.